Earlier this year, it was widely reported in military aviation circles that Russia was in the process of creating a new secret weapon for possible use against Ukraine. It wasn't a flashy new jet or missile system, but instead a biplane aircraft dating from just after World War II. What possible use could aircraft from 75 years ago be in the high-tech war being fought in 2022? This question seemed almost unnecessary to answer, but surprisingly, the new secret weapon, the venerable Antonov AN-2 biplane transport, had already proved itself extremely useful in another war that is currently raging in the former Soviet Union, leading to the Russians also apparently adopting the system. On the face of it, the AN-2 is not a fearsome machine of war, even when it first entered Soviet service in 1947. A single-engine biplane transport, it's a tough plane designed to use very primitive airstrips and to last a very long time. In Soviet service, they could drop 12 paratroopers, carry passengers and cargo, and such was the type's utility that it remained in production until 2001, with over 18,000 being built. In civilian service, it is used for crop dusting, passenger travel, sport, fighting forest fires, and as flying ambulances. In fact, the number of types and uses is long and bewildering. North Korea, China, and Cuba all use the type at the moment, or a license-built version. In 2015, it was recorded that Russia still had over 1,500 flyable Antonov 2s in military and civilian service. Between late February and March 2022, large numbers of AN-2s were spotted by satellite neatly lined up at Dubrovka, Russia. In total, 42 AN-2s were photographed. Even more ominously, Russian electronic warfare aircraft have also moved to this airbase. The answer to the mystery of the Antonov 2s is not to be found in Russia, but in Azerbaijan. In 2020, Azerbaijan's Air Force suddenly began flying AN-2s into Armenian airspace, the two former Soviet republics having been locked in a war over the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh for years. Coming low and slow, the Armenians had no choice but to launch anti-air missiles at the AN-2s. The Azerbaijanis were cleverly using surplus old AN-2s as sort of drones that were packed with explosives and sent off with pilots to attack Armenian targets. Once airborne, the pilots set the controls and then bailed out to safety, the aircraft continuing on with its payload of explosives. On radar, the AN-2s mimicked helicopters or more sophisticated modern drones, triggering the Armenian air defenses to expend extremely expensive missiles to shoot them down, and thereby revealing the location of the batteries, which could then be attacked by more modern and deadly drones. Azerbaijan has about 62 AN-2s ready for this service, meaning that Armenia will run out of the most sophisticated anti-air missiles long before the last AN-2 is sent against them. The value of an old AN-2 is only about 1/10 or even less the value of a modern anti-aircraft missile. For example, a single missile from the S-300 medium-range air defense system used by Ukraine costs $1 million. Ukraine was noted as having 250 S-300 systems before the war started, and a huge number of those missiles have been expended by this stage. So this, it appears, is the Russian plan. A Moscow-based company has been contracted by the Kremlin to convert AN-2s into drones, a process that will reportedly take a year or two to complete. But perhaps we will see AN-2s being used in Ukraine earlier, as batches are completed and then immediately used, in a long-term campaign to wear down Ukrainian air defenses. The AN-2s have to be shot down, or they will strike targets anyway. And if sent in small formations, they will appear to be modern military helicopters or such like, triggering a missile response. Such bait drones will be very cost-effective in an operation for the Russians, who, as I noted at the beginning of this video, have some 1,500 AN-2s still in the country, a pretty inexhaustible supply of throwaway aircraft. Certainly Ukraine does not have the same number of million-dollar missiles. Russia has clearly shown intent to use the AN-2s in some capacity by massing these ancient biplanes at a military airfield not too far from Ukraine. Whether the Antonov AN-2s are sent into action, only time will tell. Thanks for watching, please subscribe and share, and also visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton. You can also help to support both of my channels at PayPal and Patreon. Details in the description box below.